Hi, my name is Sharvon Hamilton, and I'll be discussing the topic Overcoming the Retirement Savings Crisis. This lesson covers how bad is the retirement crisis, how did we get here, policy initiatives to enhance retirement savings, and then I'll go into my conclusion. So, how bad is the retirement crisis? 76% of all Americans are concerned about not having enough funds secured for their retirement. People are living longer in retirement due to medical advances, and healthcare costs are rising, as well as wages are remaining stagnant. Almost 50% of American workers have saved less than 10% for retirement. In order for the average worker to spend 20 years in retirement and have enough for $50,000 a year, they will need at least $1 million in retirement savings. The American idea of work hard, retire happy is no longer a reality for a majority of Americans. This crisis is not something that can be solved by the American worker alone. It is well beyond the scope of just telling people to save more money. In order to solve this crisis, Congress will be required to pass bipartisan, comprehensive legislation that will require employers in the public and private sector, governments at the state and federal levels, retirement plan service providers, and schools across the nation to collaborate and implement bold new ideas. And this lesson is going to go over a few of the policy ideas that have already been initiated. So how did we get here? Retirement as it is today stems from the Great Depression. Jobs were so scarce in the early 1930s that employers would favor younger, more productive workers over elderly workers. Elderly workers were left without jobs, and as banks began to fail, they also lost their savings. The economic downturn was so devastating that it pressured the government to respond, and President Franklin Roosevelt passed the Social Security Act of 1935. Social Security Act was designed to pay retired workers age 65 and older continued income after retirement. Then, in addition, as the economy began to recover, employers began to offer defined benefit pension plans to retirees, and these guarantees specified retirement income for the life of a retiree. So here you start seeing what financial planners refer to as the three-legged stool beginning to form. You have Social Security, pensions, and then personal savings, all forming this three-legged stool. However, we're getting to the point where this three-legged model is no longer functioning in a way that is beneficial to the American worker. So with Social Security, it was always meant to be a supplement to retirement savings. However, due to the number of people retiring and less people working to fund Social Security, the trust fund is in danger of being depleted by 2030s. However, Congress could take action in order to extend the length of this fund. Congress also passed the Revenue Act of 1978. This law included a provision in Section 401k that gave employees a tax-free way to defer compensation from bonuses or stock options, and gave employers the ability to create a tax-advantaged savings account for their employees. The 401k was only meant to be a supplement to pension plans that were already established. However, companies found that the 401k option was cheaper and shifted more of the responsibility for managing these accounts from the employer to the employee. Therefore, employers began eliminating their defined benefit plans and offering only 401k plans as a means of creating as a means of retirement for their employees. This created an environment of do-it-yourself retirement planning. And this type of planning is not really beneficial to the American worker. In addition, these 401ks can be very fee heavy, eating into the retirement savings that's being saved up at the time. So right now, as companies began moving away from the defined benefit plan and moving towards the 401k, defined benefit plans are pretty much extinct now. Very few companies still offer this type of retirement plan. And then the third leg of the stool, personal savings, is also severely underfunded. Americans don't have enough money to cover financial emergencies when they occur and are constantly turning to their retirement accounts to fund these emergencies. The cost of living, education, healthcare costs continue to rise and as wages remain the same. Americans are just overwhelmed and don't understand how to save for retirement. So there are several policy initiatives that have been implemented. Some of them failed, some of them are successful, and there are some good lessons learned from all of these policies. The first policy I want to talk about is called MyRA. It was a policy that was introduced by President Obama to give low and middle income workers access to retirement. About 55 million people, half of the American workers, do not have access to an employer-sponsored retirement plan. So they are working, but their employer doesn't offer retirement plans. MyRA was not President Obama's preferred solution for solving the retirement crisis. His preferred approach was to create a national auto enrollment program that would mandate all employers enroll their workers in a retirement savings plan, such as a 401k or an IRA. Workers would have the option to opt out of the program. However, because of the political climate at that time, Republicans weren't really working with Obama on any of his policies. And then the Democrats, who had just had a tough fight passing the Affordable Care Act, did not want to discuss legislation that included a mandate in it because they just finished passing the Affordable Care Act that had a controversial mandate included in that. So therefore, President Obama had to look for other options, and this is how he turned to MyRA. So MyRA was available for anyone who earned less than $131,000 a year. It was designed to be as least controversial as possible. It was structured as a Roth IRA. Individuals could contribute $5,500 a year, $6,500 if you were 50 and older, and then the total amount that you could save in this type of account was $15,000. Once you reached that, it had to be transferred to a private account. MyRA had good intentions, but it had some severe deficiencies in the program. It was officially launched in November 2015. The main failure of this program is that it was not marketed well. No one really knew about the program. They didn't have funding for advertising. So a lot of people didn't even know this program existed or that they could participate in this type of program. There was also only one option for the investment of the MyRA funds. During this time, this was immediately following the financial crisis. So American citizens were really sketchy about their money. They just wanted their money to be as conservative as possible and reserved as possible with their funds. So the funds in the MyRA account were only invested into Treasury securities, which only earned 2.9%. And that was not an effective retirement account vehicle. You want your retirement savings to grow. So by July 2017, only 30,000 people signed up for MyRA and 10,000 had account balances of zero. In 2017, the Trump administration ended the MyRA program altogether. However, through lessons learned, it highlighted the importance of auto-enrollment and payroll deduction in order to make this type of program successful. MyRA did not have either one of those programs. However, we're starting to see auto-enrollment and payroll deduction implemented into state-run auto IRA plans. So now the states are becoming more involved. They recognize the crisis of retirement savings, and they're trying to implement ideas in order to get their workers of their states to be able to build retirement savings. Oregon was the first state to require employers to give employees access to state-run retirement savings plans. Employees have 5% of their income deposited into a Roth IRA, and the savings rate increases by 1% each year until it maxes out at 10%. These are the default settings. Employees can opt out of the program anytime without penalty. After 1 year, 32,000 people are still enrolled in the Oregon SAVE program. 72% of employees have stayed enrolled in the program, and they've collected over $4.6 million. This has already surpassed the number of people enrolled in the MyRA program. So even though the state-sponsored programs have a lot of support, they were met with challenges. The Republicans believe that the state-sponsored IRA program should be held to the same fiduciary responsibilities as the employer-sponsored retirement plans. The Employment Retirement Income Security Act, ERISA, was passed in 1974, and it requires employers to act in the best interest of their employees. These rules are designed to protect employees. In 2016, Obama passed safe harbor rules that exempted these state-run auto IRA programs from following ERISA. They have boards and they have public rules, so a lot of the ERISA plans are already built into the rules and regulations of the law. However, the states were not fazed by the challenges that were being faced against them. They continue to move forward to implement these state-run auto IRA plans. The next states to begin implementing plans are California, Connecticut, Illinois, and Maryland. Finally, you have the Retirement Enhancement and Savings Act, also known as RESA. Now, this is bipartisan legislation that has been introduced by Senator Hatch and Senator Wyden. It has several small changes that together created this bill. One of the changes is that it's going to increase access to multi-employer plans. Now, this is good because MEPs are essential to help give gig workers access to retirement plans. RESA also provides tax credits to small businesses for starting new auto enrollment retirement plans. In addition, it repeals the maximum age to contribute to traditional IRAs. It changes the rules to make it easier for annuities to be included in retirement plans, and you're also mandated to provide annual lifetime income statements. So in conclusion, the government really needs to provide bold initiatives in order to make drastic change. I feel like we need to mandate retirement savings for all Americans. It's difficult to implement because of the political environment. Regardless of race, gender, and political affiliation, Every worker in this country desires a decent standard of living during